I remember a specific moment when I started thinking differently about marriage. My name is Gracie X, and my book is Wide Open. What inspired me to write my book was my husband and I, after 20 years, decided to open our marriage. And I really started honing the material and thinking about what was interesting for people to know if they were thinking of opening their marriage. You really start talking through incredible nuance of what your values are as a couple.
When Gracie came to me, and there's this huge scene in her book about meeting me at the gas station, and she basically says to me just straight up, she said, I opened our marriage so that we could be together. I just remember this duality of tremendous desire and tremendous terror. And so there's this way that the relationship is so alive. There's ambiguity with it, there's uncertainty, but it makes for excitement there.
There's so much prejudice right now about polyamory. It's almost like being gay 30 years ago. There's terrible assumptions about polyamorous and people, that they don't take care of their children, that maybe they hurt their children, that they're not careful about who they sleep with, that they're out of control.
I think it's profoundly threatening to people. And I hear that from people, and I know that to be true. I was raised fundamentalist Christian, and certainly anything close to what Gracie is doing it petrifies people, and it brings up a lot of hatred.
The thought of open marriage to me feels like a lot of anxiety. And simultaneously, I'm all about checking out new paradigms, because I don't feel that the paradigms we have for marriage are healthy.
I think I was a little freaked out at first for her. I wasn't freaked out as much as I didn't understand it completely. So my Catholic background automatically stood right up.
So when you tell your community that you're opening your marriage, it's kind of like being at a dinner party and you open a hand grenade and throw it on the table. You know, I think it is so frightening to open this up, this conversation, and I find it fascinating that so many people are having affairs. We've all heard of people who've carried on affairs for years and years and years. To me, that is betrayal. I would be so hurt if I found out that my beloved lied to me for years and years and years, even if it was a lie just of omission. It is scary to do this, and the first time that you let your husband have sex with someone else is like, oh my God! And then sometimes the green monster of jealousy rears its head, but it's surprising how sometimes it can just be okay.
I think every time we go through something, we get closer, because we have more experience of the past, we have more togetherness about going apart and coming back together, and I certainly didn't have that in any of my previous relationships.
Anybody who can have maybe multiple people that they are involved with at some point in time, I think that's pretty amazing.
You make connections, you know, you form attachments to people, and there's no way without sort of, I think, without kind of shutting off parts of ourselves, can we keep that at bay. So you can either, I guess you can have an affair, you can deny aspects of your feeling, or you can be really awakened and conscious about the fact that we're capable of loving more than one person at a time.
First, I've never been in a relationship for 20 years, and that, could I imagine it with there being a foundation of having had that much time and history and friendship established already, having kids together, and then from there, I was like, oh, okay, that would be a very different perspective for me, because truly for me, the idea of having sex with one person for the rest of my life is really daunting.
I think there are a lot of people that are miserable with each other, and that's so sad. You know, they're outside of their own relationship. They're just working to make money, to make food, to get there and go do that, and they're not with each other anymore. Monogamy, if you don't know what you're doing, then don't do it.
I hope that people, reading this book, or this book really brings the idea of you can do marriage the way that you want to do it. You can let go of the preconceived notions, and you can find a partner and build something so special and so beautiful that it's really yours, and it's not anybody else's, it's not anybody It's not preconceived stuff.
When the divorce rate is so high, infidelity is prevalent, I feel like there needs to be more choices for people. And I wish that we could have more of an open conversation about it. Ultimately, to me, way worth it. Way worth it. Because I get to really live who I am. And my husband does too.